Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of Rimshots with Shawn, brought to you by Barstools and Bandtalk. We have another Shawn with us here tonight, Mr. Shawn Duncan from LA Guns. Sir, thank you so much for doing this.
Yeah, man. Thanks for calling me. Thanks for having me on.
We've been trying to make it happen for a while. So just before we started recording, you got about 14 more dates left on this run here.
Yeah, 14 left. Yeah, it is actually totally 14.
And I've been seeing the posts. Looks like it's going amazingly well.
Oh, it's been a fantastic run. We've been playing with Kiefer and Pussycat, and the venues have been nice. The crowds have been just phenomenal. We're really having a good time.
So, before we get into drum talk, one of the things that it doesn't surprise me, you and I are probably of the same vintage. We grew up with this whole genre of music, but it seems like right now, it's just as or more popular than it ever was. Any reason you think that that's taking place?
People just want to rock again, and bands, so, the good ones are still out there. And then with this big stadium tour with Motley and LA Guns, and Poison and Def Leppard, that revitalized the whole genre. And people want to go out. They've been locked up for 2 years.
Yeah. So I'm from Halifax, Nova Scotia. I don't know if you've ever been, but if you look at a map of Canada and look as far east as you can go, that's where I'm at.
Okay.
We were always starved for entertainment. And we had our fair share of concerts, but if Iron Maiden came, it was a big deal. If Kiss came, it was a big deal. We didn't have the embarrassment of riches like they would. I lived in Toronto for a number of years where, on any given night, there's a band that runs through there. You guys are hitting some big places. You're hitting some small places. Do you see the same reaction in both towns and cities that you're going to?
Yeah, it's been really solid. The smaller clubs that we've done have been packed. Every place we've played has been packed. It's there. People are coming out. They're bringing their kids. The crowd that I'm seeing more so now than maybe 8 years ago.
Right.
It's definitely the younger generation that's starting to pick up the flag and want to go out and rock. And they're wanting us to sign stuff. They've got their guitars. It's really neat.
I played a show on Saturday night. There was a bunch of kids that were probably in their early 20s that were there, and they were singing along to all the classic tunes. Myself and one of the guys in the band, the only thing we could equate it to is their parents are about our age, and they grew up listening to that music. Is that a fair statement?
I think so. I think it's very fair. And I also think that, radio hasn't really given enough time to expose newer bands, unfortunately. So some of these songs are still being played, and it's new to them.
Right.
Some of it's new to them. I remember talking to somebody a while ago about Alice in Chains, and they didn't even know the Lane Staley period of Alice in Chains.
Right.
They only knew after Lane was gone and then on. And I exposed them to, the Lane Staley era. So, and that's what we have. To them, that's like, it's still new, and they're still discovering there's all this great music back there. It's like when we were kids and I was listening to, my first Led Zeppelin record. Well, Zeppelin had been out a little while,
Sure.
and I was just discovering, Sabbath and all that stuff. But those albums were, 10 years old, 8 years, and up. And a lot of these kids are going through the same thing where they're discovering, hey, I kind of like this. This is good. So I think it's their parents exposing it to them, for sure. And I also think it's their desire to, want to find music.
Yeah, and you know the whole Spotify thing over. You can't really see it, but over my right shoulder, I've got the 40th anniversary of Scorpions Blackout, one of my all time favorite records.
Nice.
Side two for me is actually more important than side one. I just love the second side of that album. Had I first heard of it with Spotify, there's probably a really good chance I never would have ever been exposed to side two because I would have just been fishing for the hits.
Yeah, I think that's true too. I mean, a lot of people bag on streaming, and it goes back and forth. There's legitimate beefs with it. I get it, but it's definitely exposed kids who are globbing onto it to all kinds of newer music, and me too. I mean, when I use Pandora a lot more than Spotify. It's just that's what I have. I've always had it, but you can't use Pandora outside of US. But it's the same. It's the same concept where you get stuff thrown at you because you like these few things, and it opens up doorways to all this new music for you, and it's fantastic. From that aspect of it, it's fantastic.
So I did a little research on you today. I had a funny day. I won't go into my tales of woe, but I did a little research on your career, and I sent you a note because I do want to cover this in the second segment about networking and what have you. Yeah. I did know that you were part of Odin, and obviously The Decline of the Western Civilization was a huge movie for me. But I didn't realize how diverse your background was in terms of some of the people that you've worked with. Yeah. Do you equate that to just being right place, right time? Is it your, sphere of influence? Is it what do you chalk that up to? Because when I'm looking at it, I'm sitting there going, okay, this guy's probably getting calls from people because he's a good guy to work with. Is that a fair statement?
Yeah, I'm known not to be a headache, which is good.
Sure.
But also a lot of these, it's really a smaller network than it seems. A lot of us who are still doing it all have worked with each other or worked with somebody who's worked with us, and so it's not a clique by any means. It's more like, oh yeah, let's call Shawn, or let's call, Johnny or so-and-so. Yeah, he'd be fun. That it's more like that.
Right.
Like the LA Guns things came because I did a tour with Bullet Boys a few years ago, and Gunzo shared the bus with us, and that was Tracy and Rudy's band at the time. And me and Tracy got really close. And then later, the opening band on that was Killer B was the opening act, and I became really good friends with them as well. And I ended up doing a UK tour with them, and an album. And then Anders wrote songs, sent them to me. I played some drums, sent them back to him. Before I knew it, Tracy's playing guitar on it, Rudy's playing bass on it, and that's the Social Disorder stuff. And we just finished the second album for that, which is being mixed right now. So when Shane, who's been the drummer in LA Guns at the time, his wife got pregnant and he didn't want to leave. I just got a text out of the blue one day from Tracy saying, what you doing this summer? And that's kind of how that unfolded. So to get back to what, your question is basically that's kind of how things unfold in this business is you just get a call one day and you go, and it's somebody and I was already friends with Johnny and with Ace as well. So that didn't hurt.
Yeah, and I want to spend a little bit more time on that.
For 6 weeks.
I want to spend a little bit more time on that in the second segment because I think where I grew up, and you see you guys, guys getting gigs and stuff, and it's always interesting how it comes about. And having getting to know a few people, A, it's be a good person. B, be prepared. And to your point, don't be a headache.
Yeah. Don't be a headache, and be cool, and do your job.
So I want to ask you have that Pearl Master series that you have out there, which intrigues me quite a bit because about 3 months ago, I ran into I went to a local music store and I got a steal of a price on a snare drum. I gave it to a friend of mine who was helping me out with some stuff, but that's a beautiful kit. That's kind of it looks throwback in a way, but is it a fairly newer kit?
No, that kit's 11 years old.
Wow.
Yeah, it's 11 or 12 years old. I actually got that through through Johnny Kelly. He got that set for me. I was going in to do a DC4 album. I wanted a new drum set, and my brother talked to him, and he goes, "Oh, I can get one I can hook him up with Pearl, you know," and so that's how that came about. And I bought that kit directly from Pearl 11 or 12 years ago. It was a while ago. I've had it for a long time.
And you're a Sabian guy, which is interesting because you probably know those are made up here in Canada. Small little place in New Brunswick that's in kind of my neck of the woods. And that factory employs hundreds of people. It's very interesting.
Oh, you broke up a little bit there. I think my connection's biting.
We got you. No, I said Sabian. They employ hundreds of people there. Oh,
good.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, it's a great story if you go and research. It's in a small little community. But what are you using out there? They look. Am I seeing AAX up there or for Sabian?
Yeah, I have a. The X hats, those are 14-inch fusion hats, and then the ride cymbal is a hand hammered raw bell dry ride.
And just before we geek out for the last little bit on gear here, you're using those the head sticks, my friend, that very few people out here use. I know that they're probably a little more common folk in your circles, but I was telling you a story about how hard it is for me to even get them out here. Well, we're having a bit of a connection problem here. I don't know if Shawn can still hear me or not. What we're going to do is we're going to break away from this segment.